welcome to another Wednesday live chat. Today we just have Matt with us.
Just one of the Burnett's today.
One of the Burnett. Marty is out showing real estate right now, so she's a busy woman. I don't know how they find time to fit it all in, but they do one way or another.
So she may pop in on her phone. We'll see how that goes. But
yeah.
So Taylor and I are going to talk a little bit today about this. This is December. We're at the end of the year, and we're looking forward to what next year has. I know we talk about planning, all the time. Whether you're buying a house, selling property, whatever. So running a business, there's planning. Running a household, with kids and family, there's planning as well. So
you got to find a way to fit it all in.
So specifically, the last couple of days, me and Marty have been spending a lot of time, just talking about what we're going to do next year. What's that look like? Everything from the kids' activities to vacations to the business side, and all aspects of it.
So why do you think that you all sit down at the end of December? This is a regular thing you all do, right?
Right.
So why would you tell everybody the reason that you do that? How is it beneficial to sit down ahead of time and pick out and plan out every aspect of your life? How does that help you on the real estate side of things?
It gets us started going in the right direction, because even though we think we're going this way, we're going to be taking turns, no matter what it is. Kind of moving as it goes, but at least it gives us something to look forward to and to work towards, and try and track that, as we go, whether it be with business or with family or whatever. So we look back and see, all right, what do we do good this year in 2022? What can we improve on? What will the market be like next year compared to what it's been like this year? So we try to think about what that looks like.
So you basically just sit back and reflect
through numbers, through what we did through this, or through experiences of how we track that, and then also what do we think is going to happen? A lot of people that asking from the real estate market, what's going to happen next year? Is it going to turn into a buyer's market, or is it going to be a seller's market, or what's it going to do? Or people are just going to stop, and nobody knows the answer to that. I've read several things and looked into some of our own predictions, I guess you could say, but we are seeing interest rates, mortgage rates decline, from the high in October. So we're down in the low sixes, and I think it'll probably still have a slow decline into early next year, and probably my guess is it's probably going to settle sometime into next year in the high fives or so.
Okay.
And maybe that's a new normal, and I think that would be a really good new normal.
So when you say new normal, I've heard you and Marty talk a little bit about how that interest rate is the normal, and everyone kind of got used to this very, very low interest rate. And now that they see the fives, they're like, wow, this is crazy. But isn't that the normal technically? Isn't that what?
Well, I guess the normal it may depend on how old you are.
Well,
the normal to you may be what you saw was the 3%, 4%, whatever.
Yeah.
The normal to me, I remember, everybody says, oh yeah, I remember my first house, it was 8%, and that was a normal, but now that sounds high.
Mm-hmm.
So I think historically speaking, anything under 7% is a good mortgage rate, a healthy mortgage rate. So I think if we stay in the low sixes, high fives, I think that's a good number. One thing we are seeing though is, even though the buyer demand has slowed, which it typically does this time of year regardless, but the buyer demand has slowed, I think, because of the rates. People kind of step back to see what's going to happen. But at the same time, the supply side has slowed as well, meaning houses aren't going on the market. The people who bought their house 3 years ago at a 3% rate,
they're keeping it.
They're not going to sell, even though they got equity in it. What are they going to do? They got to turn around and they go refinance something at a higher rate. So they're a lot more cautious to sell their home. And builders, a lot of the builders, larger builders that are in business now, they were around back in 2008, 9, 10, and they remember, what happens when the economy slows down. So they're being very careful too, I think, and they're pulling back on their starts and just kind of treading slowly to see what happens. And so that is hurting the supply. So we still have an issue of not enough houses available for the buyers. So I think that's just going to continue to keep a constant more stabilized market, housing market over the next several months.
And then people will use those properties as investment properties and such like that, right?
Maybe so. If they bought a house with a great rate, maybe that'd be a great opportunity if the house was the right fit to live there for a year or more and then go buy another house and rent that first one they had.
Yeah, I was reading up on a lot of predictions for 2023, what people think the market's going to look like, and they think it's going to be the year's just going to be a lot based towards investments. Like people are going to really take advantage of those low interest rate houses and properties that they bought, and then they're going to use that as an investment property because those interest rates are unheard of.
Oh yeah.
And those were very recent.
There's no way you could get an investment property for, rate for that.
Yeah.
So that would be a great tool. So what happens to that house that they bought 2 years ago at 3%? It's not going to come back on the market, is it? They're just going to rent it to somebody and then they're going to go buy another house. So they're taking a house off the market without replacing one. So we're still seeing this supply issue of the housing and the demand has slowed, but the supply has slowed. But I think that part's probably going to stay fairly steady. And we have, we're working with buyers now, like Marty's out showing houses right now. She's been showing, for days, so we're working with several buyers, we're working with several sellers. So people are still moving, even though this is one of the slower times of the year.
So overall, you think that 2023 is going to get a more leveled down, consistent interest rate of that 5 and 6 is what you predict.
That's my guess, and that's worth whatever. Nothing. I mean, that's what I'm thinking anyway. But I think the real estate market in general will be a little bit slower pace than it was last few years, which is not a bad thing because it gives people time to properly market the houses, gives the buyers time to properly inspect them. Think about that, have time to actually go look at it.
So people aren't just going to be jumping on deals left and right like they were.
Right. Because people were trying to buy something, the very first day it hit the market. And, so now hopefully we should have a little bit of time, the buyers to properly inspect those homes and really think through that purchase instead of a split second type decision. So I think that's a good thing for everybody.
Well, good. So that's mainly what you focused on is getting everything planned and set in stone and ready to go for 2023. You feel good about it?
We feel great about it. So we're excited about it. It's going to be a fun year. We're basing that on how we structure our business. I think it's going to be very similar. And we go back and look and say, okay, where can we do things differently? Right now, actually, I'm going through credit cards. Anybody ever signed up for something on a credit card that gets hit every month and you think it's only $10 a month or something like that? And the next thing you know, it's still there 2 years later.
Credit cards aren't my thing.
Or debit card, whatever it is. So December's a great time to go back and look through those and say, hey, am I really using this $10?
Those payments you just signed up for, those plans and
those kind of things, the subscriptions. Yeah. So those things add up. So I've been kind of culling through those today, just making sure we're using everything. So just stuff like that, end of the year type stuff. Taxes are no fun, but you got to get all your stuff together. So when that's ready, but it's a good time to get prepared for next year.
Well, good. That's awesome. If you're looking for a real estate agent, don't forget to reach out to Matt and Marty. They are the best in the business. And if you need any help with planning for 2023, feel free to reach out to them. They'll give you some great realtor tips. We'll see you next week. Thank you.
See ya.